reading Blood Meridian. Yes, I'm still reading Blood Meridian. I actually haven't read in a while, but I've been trying to get out of a slump that I can feel myself slipping into. So, part of it is, to be quite honest, this book is just not doing it for me. The story is just not doing it for me. I'm definitely a believer that you can and should not finish a book if it's not grabbing your attention. Like, if you're doing something for pleasure, why would you continue if the activity was not bringing you pleasure? I totally get that, but on the other hand, I also just want to wait and see what's going to happen to know for sure whether or not I didn't like something. Unless a book was like truly just, I couldn't get into it. The only book that I have not finished, well, that's not true. There are some books that I've started and never finished, just because I just kind of fell out of it. But there's one book I consciously, kind of early on, like within the first few chapters, was just knew I didn't want to finish reading it, and that was An Abundance of Catherines. A friend had lent it to me. I had a friend in college who loved John Green, and because of her I read Looking for Alaska, and I read The Fault in Our Stars, and I did like those books. I quite liked Looking for Alaska. The Fault in Our Stars was okay, but I just couldn't, I don't even really remember what it was, but I just couldn't finish, didn't care to finish, wasn't interested in finishing. I felt really comfortable just saying it's not for me. I did think about doing that for Blood Meridian, but I don't know, part of me still wants to finish reading it. But anyway, I am a little all over the place focus-wise, so I could not keep my attention. I could not keep my attention on the book. So I thought about a video I actually wanted to film last night, but I got tired. I just was not up for it in the end. So I wrote out a list of things I wanted to talk about because I didn't want to forget. Okay. Oh, I didn't really show you my notebook. It's so cute. A friend sent this to me for my birthday, 2 birthdays ago, I think it was. It says resting French face, and it's a little eggy in the bread. What do you call that? I'm not sure, but I know that's a breakfast food item, and it's raised, and it's just a pale pink, soft pink. It's a little more pink sorry if you can hear in the background. It's like a rolling sound. It's distracting me, but it's also the middle of the day, and this is why I like to film at night, but it's tough because God, this sounds so stupid, but ever since I got my puppy, I have to wake up at a certain time to let him out, and that means if I stay up late to film, I get less sleep, especially during the week, because it's not like I can just go back to sleep after I wake up. I have to, get ready for the day, and I work. So, but filming at night is the best because there are no other sounds. No other household sounds, I mean. Anyway, this is going to be just kind of talking about, like a ramble about music and books. Just things I've been listening to or reading this month or want. It's also a little materialistic. I'm going to be talking about some records that I want to buy, vinyls. I actually did buy one, but we'll get into that. First, I want to talk about music. The music that I've been listening to a lot of this past month. This is a really big deal for me because I love music. I definitely am someone who is very influenced by music, on an emotional level, and just I find it to be so moving and so beautiful. I always sound so lame, but that's how I feel. But I'm also a creature of habit when it comes to things that I like in terms of art. I tend to just stick to what I know. Like I growing up, I would always read the same books over and over again, and I listened to the same albums and the same artists and the same songs. And it wasn't until really last year when I retired my iPod, and then started listening to Spotify, or actually subscribe to it so that I could listen to it in a way that is more gives me more control. And it's so cool. It's so cool to have access to so much music. Not all the music. That's probably the most annoying thing, is there are some songs that just aren't available on Spotify, and it makes me sad, but that's okay. I can listen to them other ways. I'm lazy. But so anyway, so I try to make more of a conscious effort, and it kind of comes in waves, but I try to make a conscious effort of keeping up with bands that I like, and with just making sure I'm listening to a variety of things. Well, it's not really a variety of things, but just making sure I'm mixing it up a bit. So yeah. The first thing I wrote was there have been a few albums that came out, I think this month. I'm pretty sure this month, that I've been really digging. Well, to be honest, I've only listened to them once, but I really enjoyed it. This was all Friday. Today's Sunday, so Friday. The first album was actually the first album. I didn't write it. The first album that I listened to that I think came out this month was Cinema by the Marias. It's their debut album, but they have 2 other EPs that I really love. Super Clean, volumes 1 and 2. And the album I really enjoyed. I felt like it was similar in sound. It's the sound that I love about them. It's the kind of this dreamy, whimsical sort of dream pop sound, I guess you would say. I really love the lead vocalist. Her name is Maria. I don't know what her last name is. I'm not like a huge super fan, but I mean, I am a fan. I'm not familiar with their names, which is terrible. I know that the singer, the lead singer, her name is Maria, and she has the most gorgeous voice. And I love when she incorporates Spanish into her songs. I just think that it makes it a little more unique, and I love that. And there are a couple songs. I think I'm terrible with remembering names, and I've only listened to the album once. But I know I really liked Heavy, and I think, was it Call You Back? Oh god, I can't remember. I really liked Heavy, and that there were some, I mean, I liked all the songs. Pretty sure I liked all the songs. Okay, then the next album I think I listened to, which is the first album I wrote, is Call Me If You Get Lost by Tyler, the Creator. And I really, really liked the album. It reminded me of his older sound. I think the first Tyler album I listened to ever was Goblin, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I don't think I ever listened to Wolf, or if I did, it didn't leave an impact, but I'm pretty sure I didn't listen to it, and I just fell out of Tyler completely, like didn't listen to any of his other albums until this past fall, and I finally listened to I still haven't listened to Wolf, but I listened to the last 3. I listened to Cherry, Flower Boy, and Igor, and I really, really, really liked Igor and Flower Boy. I don't really remember Cherry. But yeah, Call Me If You Get Lost. It sounded more like his older stuff to me. But I loved it. It was a great album. And then I listened to Faye Webster's album. I know I'm funny, haha. I liked it. I particularly liked, there was one song, I don't think this is the title, but it's something like Dream with the Baseball Player. I really liked that song, but I can't recall any other songs that really stood out to me. I really like her vibe. She has a very unique sound, in my opinion. I love the sound of her voice, and I like when she intermixes with some spoken words and just kind of her style. I really like it. But it didn't sound, to me, it didn't sound ultra different than her last album, Atlanta Millionaires Club. And that's the only other Faye Webster album I've ever listened to. I've only ever heard of her since last year, I think it was, that I discovered that album, Atlanta Millionaires Club, and I loved that album so much. So this album felt like not too much of a progression in sound. Like, it wasn't a standout, but it was a good album. Okay, there was another album that came out. Well, it was an EP by Devendra Banhart. I cannot remember what it was called. It's like In a Cistern, something, and it's only 2 songs, and they're beautiful. They're very, like an ambient music type of vibe. I think one of them is purely instrumental. They both might be. I think he sings on the second one, but I honestly can't really remember. But I liked it, and it's super, super short. I've never really kept up with singles or EPs. I've always been someone who prefers to listen to an album. But like I said, with Spotify, this feels like an ad for Spotify. It's just, there's so much more that's accessible. Okay, there's an album that came out this month that I really want to listen to, that I've heard some songs. It's Doja Cat, Planet Her. I have checked out, I think, 3, I don't know how many music videos she's done. She's released a lot of music videos. I don't know why, but that is surprising to me, but maybe that's common with the music industry. And I don't know, I'm like woefully out of touch, but maybe also I'm comparing it to Lana Del Rey, who's my favorite artist, who does not really put out too many music videos, but I liked all the songs and I loved the music videos, and so I have it saved to my library so that I can listen to it, and maybe I'll listen to it later today. Some other music that I've been really digging: Elysian Fields. I listened to their first EP and the first 2 albums, and I really like that sound. I had heard of them before. I don't remember where I heard about them, but I have definitely seen that name. But I consciously made a choice to listen to them because I realized that the singer, what's her name? I think it's Jennifer Charles, but I might be mistaken. But she was in that project, Lovage, which I've mentioned in the video where I was going through my Spotify favorite albums. I love her voice, and I loved that album. It's music to make love to your old lady by, with, something like that. She's a singer. I think maybe I knew that. I think maybe that's, like, I had read about that band when I read about Lovage, but I've definitely had seen Elysian Fields, I've seen the name in, like, either the music subreddit or, the if I like blank suggestions subreddit. But anyway, she was a singer, and the drummer, I don't know from what time period exactly, but at some point in time, Matt Johnson drummed for them, and Matt Johnson is the drummer was the drummer at a point in time for Jeff Buckley, and I love Jeff Buckley so much, and not just Jeff Buckley, but the band that he put together for the album Grace is probably my favorite album of all time, and it's because I love all the different instrumentation. It's just, the sound is so cohesive. It goes so beautifully with Jeff Buckley's voice and his melodies. But I loved the drumming on that album. And I don't even know how, but I was like randomly looking up interviews with Matt Johnson on YouTube, and I didn't know this, but he also drums, I think currently, but at a point in time drummed / drums for St. Vincent. So that's been making me want to listen to more St. Vincent. And I know she had her album Daddy's Home come out. I don't remember when exactly, but it's kind of recent. And I think I've listened to a couple songs whenever they showed up on my Spotify release radar. But I haven't actually sat down and listened through the album. So I think I might want to do that. But yeah, Elysian Fields. And okay, this is another album. It didn't come out this year. It came out, I want to say 2019, maybe 2018, by Hannah Cohen, Welcome Home. Oh my god, the song All I Wanted is, I think, my number 2 or number 3 top played song at the moment. I love that song. And that album is really good. Okay. Lana. I wanted to talk a little bit about Lana. I don't think I've talked to you about the 3 singles that she released: Blue Banisters, Textbook, Wildfire, or Wildflower. I think it's Wildfire. I'm terrible with names. I, liked them. They weren't necessarily standouts, though, to me. And I don't know. I'm curious about the next album. So I just read this like an hour ago on the Lana subreddit, that the album, which was going to be called maybe Rock Candy Sweet, and then was going to be, or it's a separate album, Blue Banisters, and then the name was not going to be Blue Banisters, but we didn't know what it was going to be. And then I read today that it is called Santa Clarita Sinners, which I actually like that name better than Blue Banisters. And that a single is coming out on July 4th. I had been told, I had read, this is coming from Lana Del Rey's Instagram, I had read that Rock Candy Sweet was coming out June 1st and Blue Banisters was coming out July 4th. Now, obviously, she has said that many, many times about other albums or projects that did not come to fruition or were super, super delayed. So, like, I kind of knew. Like, I knew not to take it seriously, but you can't help. There's always that part of you that's like, well, maybe this time it really will happen. And so you have a little bit of hope. A little bit of hope. We'll see. I don't know. I do kind of think we'll get another album this year, which I really admire her, what's the word? She's very prolific. We'll put it that way. She's very prolific, and that's really admirable, because, I can definitely relate to how frustrating it is to have an artist you really love and they don't really release as often. So I like that, but that also just feels like we didn't have any time to fully savor this era. And like I said earlier, she doesn't really release that many music videos, especially compared to I guess the frequency that she would make videos in the past. And sometimes I feel like there are videos that are made or announced that they will be made, and that never comes to fruition either, which is so sad, because I love, well, I won't say I love all of her music videos, but I still enjoy all of them because I enjoy her artistry. So, but I would rather have an album than a bunch of music videos. But it's nice. And I think that was, okay. And the last thing, I think I had mentioned this, so I had filmed a few videos last week or earlier this week, I can't remember. I haven't even edited them yet, but yes, I had mentioned the song The View of Earth from Mars by Proudfather, and that's something I wanted to mention because that is like my most favorite, or my most played song as of the last 6 weeks, I think. I'm just obsessed with that song. And so Proudfather is, I can't remember if I said this in the other video, if I talked about his background or not. Forgive me if I'm being redundant, but he works for NASA. He controls the rovers, or designed the rovers, or something with the rovers on Mars. And the album that is coming out next month, which I don't recall what it's called. In my mind, for some reason, it's called The View of Earth from Mars, but I could be mistaken. what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's about, I guess it's a concept album of an astronaut and as he prepares for his journey to space. I don't know, that's what it seems like. I'm very interested. So, okay, let's talk about records. I did buy myself a record after I said to this camera, to this phone, after I said that I did not have the space for anymore. I went out, or I didn't go out, I went online and ordered the soundtrack for Call Me By Your Name, because I love that soundtrack so much. So much. So I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to that, but it just had me thinking about, what records I would love to buy. But and I might buy some of these over the coming months and years. I don't know when it will be that I'll have everything written on here, plus all the others I'm sure I would love to have. Okay, records I want. Funkadelic, their album Maggot Brain. Remain in Light by Talking Heads. I want all of Lana's discography. I currently have Chemtrails, Norman fucking Rockwell, Paradise, and Born to Die, and I want everything, plus the her narration of Violet bent backwards over the grass. But what I particularly want, like the two that I know would just sound phenomenal on vinyl, are Ultraviolence and Honeymoon. I would love like everything by the Beatles, but I would particularly love the White Album. I would love the Dark Side of the Moon. I would love, there's this album by Kim Jung-mi, who is a Korean singer from the 70s, and she sang on this album called Now, and the songs were written by, what's his name? Shin Jun something. He's like known as the Korean grandfather of rock, I think, according to his Wikipedia entry that I read a long time ago. It's such a great album. It is such a great album. I love the song Your Dreams. Your Dream in a Stream. I don't even remember what it's called. That's such a great album, that one, and It's Raining. Did I say album? That's a great song. Those are two great songs off of a great album. Oh my god, I didn't write this down, but I just thought of another album I would love to have, and that would be Foreplay by Mild Orange. I would love that album. And I would love anything by the Marias. Inner Speaker, the first album by Tame Impala, I would love to have that. Food by MF Doom, love to have that. All American Badass by Joey Badass, would love to have that. Salad Days, yes, Salad Days by Mac DeMarco, that is my favorite album by him. I would love to have that. I would love to have anything by Beach House, particularly Bloom. I think I actually would pick Bloom over Depression Cherry. really sure, but I think. And then I don't know what their other album is called. I don't know. Oh, I forgot to mention an album that came out this year that I love. I think I've mentioned it though in my Spotify video. It's an overview on Phenomenal Nature by Cassandra Jenkins. I had never heard of her before, but I love that album. It's so good. Okay, and God, this video is gonna be so long. I wanted to tell you about this is kind of like a plug, so I will link my Spotify below in case you want to check it out, in case you want to check out my playlists. Most of them are kind of superfluous. They're just, whatever. But some of them have a little bit more intentionality behind them. I mean, all of them have a purpose, but you're probably not going to find all of them really that interesting. They're really just for me, but there are some that I don't know, wanted to recommend. Okay, the first one it's called it's like in brackets and it's called Move with the Tide, and then there's some stupid subtitle like an imagining of a second Sucre LP, I think is what it says. It's just all of the singles released by Sucre in the last 3 years or so, and I put them in order. So this is not a playlist that you are meant to necessarily put on shuffle, although you can. But if you wanted to listen to it from start to finish in order, it was designed to flow in a certain way. So okay, the next one is Mystical Bitch Vibes, and that is probably the music that speaks to my soul. That is such a cheesy title. I'm not good with coming up with like witty names of things. So yeah, it's Mystical Bitch Vibes, and if you like, I think it's just dream pop is what you would call it, but things that are kind of dreamy, or like, it's not really shoegaze, but it's kind of a similar feeling that I get from a lot of shoegaze songs. So just what feeling would I call it? Like I'm floating in space, or like I'm looking at the stars. If you're laying outside on a summer night or a spring night, and it's so dark, and the sky is above you because you're laying down, and the stars are bright, and you smoked a bowl or something, or maybe not, maybe you're just totally lucid and present, but it's like having a presence of mind and feeling the significance of life, and be feeling overwhelmed by the beauty of everything, but also feeling a little melancholic about that. I don't know. That's the mood. And then the last playlist is called Tender and Melancholy. It's from a quote that I can't remember. it, but it has the phrase tender and melancholy, and I just love the way that those two words sound together, and so that's the theme. The songs are meant to evoke that kind of tender, nostalgic, melancholy vibe. I try to do it in a way that was kind of broad, but some of them, it's like, it started with stuff that personally really, poked me in my emotional soft spot, and then I broadened it, and I just added songs that generally had that theme. So, yeah, this one and Mystical Bitch Vibes, it's just a dumping ground of songs, really, so that it is definitely one that's meant to put on shuffle, and they're quite long, I think, in terms of hours. Okay, I wanted to end this. My god, this is such a long video. But I wanted to end this talking about books because I want to get out of the slump, and I will. July will be a better month. So far in June I haven't finished anything. I'm hoping I will finish Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian. I haven't touched, I don't even remember, I think I did mention this. I'm just gonna let you know I haven't touched it since like the one time I started reading it, but I will finish it, but it's not a priority. And then I wanted to talk about 2 books that I recently got, and oh my god, I have a problem. I did buy a couple other books, maybe more than a couple, maybe more like 3, maybe 4. Yeah, but I also got 2 books. One I intentionally bought, and then one that was my book of the month for June. So this is the book I'm going to read next. My goal, well, I would love to finish this book in June, but it is June 27th, so it's Sunday, it's like mid-afternoon, and I actually have a ton of school related work to do. So, you know, no worries if I don't get to it, because I'm not going to start it until I finish Blood Meridian, but I am looking forward to reading this. I think this is going to be a good, kind of like a palate cleanser for me. Just something to be captivating and just to get immersed in. It's called The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I don't really know how to say that, but it looks very intriguing. I'll just read you the top blurb. It says, a spellbinding tale of psychological suspense weaving together Greek mythology, murder, and obsession. And then this book I bought, very random. I just needed a book to qualify for free shipping on Amazon. And it is Moo by Jane Smiley. I have never read anything by Jane Smiley before, but I'm familiar with this author. A YouTuber I love, Sunbeams Jess. She does a lot of book videos. She's not, I don't know if you would consider her a booktuber, because she does a lot of other content, like fashion related content, but she studied literature and she's super into books, so I love listening to her talk about books. And she is a big Jane Smiley fan, and I don't even know how I came across this, but the title really caught my attention, Moo. And I Jane Smiley, I recognize the name, so I decided to give it a try. But that's really everything I wanted to talk about. This is an incredibly rambly video, so that might not be your thing, but sometimes you just need to have a stream of consciousness conversation with yourself in front of a camera when you are